What's up, superstars? My name is Miss Sieber. This is my virtual classroom and welcome to Superstar Parking. Today, I have not only a surprise for you, but I also have something that I made for our learning today. So if you're ready, I would like everyone to take their right hand, put it inside your imaginary backpack, pull out your thinking cap, put on your math thinking cap, turn it on, kiss your brain, and today, we are going to not only need to focus, but we're going to need to use our eyes just a little bit more because we are going to be measuring. Today we are learning about length. What do you mean length, Miss Sieber? Today we are going to be measuring using a ruler, but not just any type of ruler, a ruler that Miss Sieber handmade. Would you like to see it? This is my handy dandy ruler. Now this is an actual ruler. I took a ruler that I had at home, I painted a piece of wood, and I made it my own handy dandy ruler. And it's bigger than the size of my head. Are you ready? So right now we don't need the ruler. I'm going to explain my anchor chart, but we're going to come back to my ruler. So I'm going to put it with my materials for today and leave it until we need it. Today we are talking about length. Our objective is that we can measure objects to the nearest ½ inch and to the nearest 1/4 inch. Hold on. What do you mean nearest? Nearest means which inch is our object closest to. Let's dive a little deeper. First, let's look at ½ inch. Here's my little hair pick. When we look at my inch ruler, this is 0 to 1 inches or 1 to 2 inches. Between every inch, there is ½ of an inch. So between 1 and 2 inches, there is 1½ inches. Between 2 and 3 inches, 2½ inches. So halfway between each inch is a half. So we are going to look at my ruler to figure out what is the nearest inch or ½ inch that this measures to. So come on, let's look a little closer. If we look at my hair pick and we go all the way down, I want to see, is it closer to 4 inches or 4½? When we're looking super close, it's a little past the 4, but it's closer to the 4 than 4½. So this actually measures the length of this object is 4 inches, not 4½, because the nearest inch that it's closest to is 4. So does that make sense? Do we understand it? Now that we've talked about ½ of an inch, let's look a little closer to a 1/4 inch. I want you to think of my ruler to the nearest 1/4 inch almost like a number line. So let's look at my ruler. Between each inch, there are 4 parts. There is 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. And then we get to my 1 inch. Like we did with my ½ inch, we want to see the length of my pencil, which 1/4 inch it is closest to. What is the nearest 1/4 inch? So let's look a little closer at which nearest 1/4 inch does my pencil measure. So we know that we start at the 0, and when I'm looking at where the length of my pencil ends, what is the nearest or closest inch? When I look all the way down, it is closest to 3/4. Which inch is it closest to? 5 inches and 3/4. I don't know about you, but that was a lot of math. So let's put it into practice. But before I can begin, we know Miss Sieber loves surprises, so I want to introduce my next guest. I've introduced you to my brother and my mom and my sister, so today my guest loves treats. Are you ready to meet him? Charlie, speak. Charlie, speak. Good boy. Hi, Char, come here. Everybody welcome Mr. Charlie Brown. Charlie, can you say hi? Charlie's also eating his treat and enjoying it. Say hi, Miss Sieber's class. Speak. Hey, everybody on Superstar Parking. Charlie, can you whisper? Whisper. Good boy. So today, Mr. Charlie Brown is going to be helping me measure some awesome candy bars. Do you want to measure candy? Speak. 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 Good boy. Today, we are going to be measuring the length of different candy bars. What candy bars? We have Airheads, Kit Kats, Jolly Ranchers, 100 grand, and no, not 100 grand money, 100 grand candy bar, a little Dum Dum lollipop, and and a Twix. I'm getting hungry just thinking about all this candy. All right, so let's look at my handy dandy ruler. Today we are going to, like I said, measure the length of candy bars. As we measure the length of the candy bars, I'm going to be writing down the measurements so that way we can make something with the measurements after. So we are first going to measure the length of a Kit Kat. Now, not just the length, we are measuring to the nearest ½ inch. So come a little closer so we can do this together. We know that we always start at my 0. So here is my 0 on my ruler. Now let's look at the end of my object. When I'm looking at the end of my length, which inch or ½ inch is it closest to? Hey cameraman, what do you think?
4.5.
4.5 inches. It's a little past the 4.5, but it's not closer to the 5. It's closest to 4.5. So the length of my Kit Kat bar is 4.5 inches. Next up, we're looking at my Jolly Rancher. So we started at 0, and now I want to see which ½ inch is it closest to. So now let's measure the length of my Jolly Rancher. I can see that the end of my Jolly Rancher is a little past 3.5 inches, but it's closest or nearest to 3.5 inches and not 4 inches. So the length of my Jolly Rancher is 3.5 inches. Next up, we have my Dum Dum Lollipop. Now, we started off at 0 again. My length ends right here. So it's between my 3 and 3.5 inches. Now this is a close call. When I look at where the length ends, it is right before my little 4th inch mark. So I'm gonna say that the length of my Dum Dum Lollipop is closer to 3 inches and not 3.5. So the length is 3 inches. So the nearest length of my Dum Dum Lollipop is 3 inches. Next up, we have my Reese's. Miss Sieber loves a good Reese's. So we start off at my 0. Now this one's pretty easy. Hey camera guy, where do you think my Reese's ends? What nearest ½ inch is it closest to?
3.5.
3.5 inches. It is actually almost exactly 3.5 inches. So the length of my Reese's is 3.5 inches. And next we have my 100 grand. And a secret, I wish this was actually 100 grand, but it's okay. Chocolate will do. So we start at my 0, and this one is very similar to my Reese's. It ends almost exactly at 3.5 inches. So the nearest ½ inch length is 3.5 inches for my 100 grand bar. All right, superstars, we are almost finished. But before we are done, we have 2 more candies left. So let's look at my Airhead. My Airhead's length ends a little after my 3.5 inches, but it's not closer to my 4 inch. It's closer to my 3.5 inch. So the length of my Airheads is 3.5 inches. And last but not least, we have Twix. Miss Sieber loves Twix. We start at my 0, and my Twix ends right at my 3 inch mark. So the nearest ½ inch or inch for my Twix bar is 3 inches. Now that we've measured the length of my candy bars, there's one more thing that we have to do before we're finished. Now we are going to take those lengths and record them on a line plot. So we know my Dum Dum Lollipop and my Twix both measured, their length was 3 inches. So let's record that on my line plot. Remember, 1x equals 1 candy bar that had that length. So above the 3 inches, we need 2 x's. We also know that 4 candy bars measured 3.5 inches in length. So how many x's do I need above my 3.5 inches? If you said 4, you got it. Kiss your brain and pat yourself on the back. And last but not least, my Kit Kat, or my longest in length, measured 4.5 inches. So we will put 1x above 4.5. When we're looking at my results, we can see that 3.5 was the greatest in length, and 4.5 was the least greatest in length. Well, superstars, that's a wrap. I'm Miss Sieber. This is Charlie. Charlie, speak.
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 Thank you for coming to Superstar Parking, and I will see you next time. Charlie, say bye.
Come get it, Charlie. Come get it.
Char Char, come get it. Ooh,
Oh,
he's a
there you
happy
go.
boy. Bye.